Again, this is hand-in free. Uh, Most of the filters from that. I've divided them up into two separate files, so I will go through them one by one. Yeah, we start off with a inverse filter. This is simply done by taking the input image and then subtracting all pixels with from 255, and this will give you the inverted image. Yeah, not much else to say there. Simple brightness. I give it some input here. Use an input variable here to adjust the brightness, and it's done by taking making a sum of the input and the brightness, and then have this if statement to control that the values don't get above 255 or below 0. Yeah, that's pretty much it for brightness. Simple contrast, and here you could just times the input with a variable, so you get a percentage of the color. So you times by 1.1, or yeah, you times with a float. So that's what you get in here. You could see it in the first video I put in, that it changes with 0.01, I think, every time. Um, yeah, and the sum again, just as in brightness, control that it doesn't supersede the limits of the on-site chart that our output will consist of. And that's pretty much it for that. Salt and pepper noise. First I set the output image equal to the input image. Then I make a random number between 0 and 100. If this percentage is above or below 12, then you should fill all those positions out with either 255 or 0, so we get a colored image with the salt and pepper noise. Yeah. Then we have the log filter, and I've taken this formula from the book. You take 255 divided by log 1 plus 255, and this is something you times to the log of the input image plus 1. So that's what I do, and I get a very, very bright image, as you saw in the first video. The exponential filter, I also got this formula from the book. 255 divided by the power of a value. That value should be a little above 1. So I set it to 1.004 in my startup code, and that value can be adjusted a little lower, a little higher. At the edges of the curve, the image will get dark, so you can't see anything. And yeah, your time is set on, and minus input minus 1. Yeah, that's the formula that's in the book. So, and it seems to be working. So yeah, the gamma filter. Also put a float variable in here. We get a pixel value from the input divided by 255. I want this gamma val to be a float, so I need this 0.0 f to make it a float. Now this is the outval. That is how the gamma is applied. The gamma value to the power of the var that we get in to the function and then times it by 255, because this is a percentage of how much color you want, and 255 is the max. So if this one is 1, it's gonna be 255. If it's lower, it's gonna be less than 255. And again, to keep the limits of the unsigned chart and set it equal to outlet. And here, from grayscale from RGB to grayscale, divide the 3 color channels up into red, green, and blue. Then I divide the sum of those 3 with 3, because then I get the mean value, and that will be the output value for the grayscale image. Yeah, the binary in the assignment it says go from binary to gray, or from gray to binary, but I'm just gonna do it straight from RGB, just because it's made the code a little easier out in the test app typically. So it also says binary from gray, but I made it though from RGB. Again, divide it up, do it exactly as I did in the grayscale, and then I make this if statement to make it a binary. So it's if sample is above 127, it will become 255, else it will become 0. So binary. Yeah, normalized RGB. Here you have to do something with the values. Again, divide the color channels up into 3. Then I get a mean or the collected value of those 3. Then I divide the R value with the sum and divide and times it by 255. And it's actually just making a percentage of how much the red color channel is out of the sum of all the 3 images, and then it will get a percentage. So the collected value of this, and this will become 1, and that's how normalized that would be. I mean, yeah. Serbia, to be honest, this bothers me a little bit, and this formula was from something I found on the net, so I cannot really tell you too much about it. But as Serbia, you want to create a reddening or brown effect in the image, kind of like making a brown grayscale image, and then you need to make these kind of make these weights on the colors to achieve that. So that's what I've done, and that's what the outputs seem to show. So it seems to be working. Then pink color detection, as pink is first off, it's a simple threshold, making sure that the red values are greater than 200 at start off. I use a threshold value that I give it in here, but I started at 0, so red will be above 200, and blue will be bigger than 150, and green will be above 150, and red will be greater than both the other 2 color channels. And again, this is a formula that I found on the net, and then I tried actually many pink color detection before this one. And this one seems to be working the most consistently with the pink color, the colors that I had around me. So yeah. Red color detection, this is for just outside the threshold, and I use it for my grass fire, and I use it for just some edge detection and so forth. My mean filter, I have my kernel here 3 times 3 divided by 9, so I get a ninth every time, and it's because I times the kernel with the input. So the input value will only be a ninth of the size of what it was, and this is to keep the sum here between 0 and 255. And yeah, I use a for loop for the colors. I use 2 for loops for the kernel, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And now this mean 7 times 7 disk. This is the way I used or made the disk. I'm not sure if this is correct. I have seen a few examples of how it could be done, but this is the disk that I made. And as this disk only uses 25 positions inside the array, I only divide by 25 here, because all these zeros don't count, as they will not count down here in the computation. So some will be plussed with the 25th of every input value in the kernel size area neighborhood, and the output will become sum. And yeah, that worked also fine. And that was the filters I had in my hand-in CPP 3 and now I will stop this video and make the next one.